Welcome to Wargroove. In this episode, we're going over the twins' grooves. Errol and Orla's grooves, scorching fire and cooling water. Okay, when the twins get groove, you have two choices. You can hit the yin-yang or the yang-yin symbol for scorching fire and cooling water. Let's talk about Errol's groove, cooling water, first.
This'll keep us safe.
Cooling water creates a nice big area here. It hasn't done anything yet, but at the start of the twins' turn, it will heal everything in that area for 20%. Just for demonstration purposes, let's also create a cooling water here, so that we're covering both this neutral sword and this hostile neutral merfolk. Let's see if it affects them as well. As you can see, it's my enemy's turn, but nothing has happened yet. At the start of the twins' turn, however, both the areas shrink and heal everything in them. All these swords, allied and enemy alike, were healed. However, the neutral and hostile neutral units were not healed at all. It seems like all kinds of neutral units are unaffected by cooling water. Alright, let's end our turn again, and go to the start of the twins' next turn. Once again, everything in the area was healed, and the area continues to shrink. The area is going to shrink one more time, so it just covers one square, and it will heal something in that final square before disappearing. Pretty nifty. Now, since it heals your enemy units as well, you have to be pretty careful with this groove. Now that we've talked about cooling water, let's talk about scorching fire. Scorching fire is pretty much the opposite of cooling water. This is Orla's groove. It'll start smoldering on one square and expand into that 4 radius area that we've talked about before. At the start of this twin's turn, this space lights itself on fire. Now that fire is pretty dangerous. That being said, I can stand in it, and it's not going to do anything on my enemy's turn either. I can have them stand in where the fire will be. Alright, let's end my turn. However, at the start of the twins' turn, the fire activates, killing everything in the fire spaces and in these highlighted spaces where the fire spreads. So remember, both grooves proc only at the start of the twins' turn. In the meantime, you're free to walk through the fire, you can stand on the fire, you can do whatever you want. But at the start of the twins' turn, the fire spaces and the highlighted spaces will all light ablaze and destroy everything in their path. Alright, now it's going to expand to that full 4 radius that we talked about, the same as the original size of Errol's groove. Unfortunately, this groove very clearly works on commanders and can take the twins out as well. We're gonna have to restart this game because we lost the twins. And now let's take a look at what else can be affected by scorching fire. By the way, I have the weather set to random to prove that rain does not affect either groove, neither does wind or sun. The grooves will do exactly the same thing regardless of the weather. I'm gonna put a ton of scorching fires all across the map to see just what they can do. They're all gonna activate at once, so pay attention to what kinds of units are affected by the Inferno. Let's move down here. Remember, the Merfolk is a hostile neutral unit. These swords here are all pure neutral units. We have a sea unit, the turtle, some air units, a bunch of commanders, and just to make things interesting, let's add some summons to the mix. We're gonna add Emmerich's Crystal, Koji Bombs,
Activate Sparrow Bombs!
and of course Green Finger Vines.
Nature's cry.
What of this will be affected by the Inferno? We also have strongholds, a barracks, and a gate. Let's find out. Okay, one by one, the fires start to light, and we can immediately see that true neutral units are immune to scorching fire. just like they were immune to cooling water. Get ready. Air units are completely destroyed. Vines, crystals, everything burned to the ground. It looks like no matter what kind of unit you are, the only thing that has survived so far are the true neutral units. Additionally, this gate is very clearly in the fire but not affected, and so is this barracks, so buildings are immune as well. Again, you can move through the fire freely. Alright, let's end our turn here. Now the fire expands again, and it has obliterated the commanders, the air units. Everything is burning. Let's evacuate the twins. We don't want them to fall again. One more. And there's a reason I want it to expand completely. Notice that the hostile neutral unit actually was destroyed by scorching fire, so you can take it out with Orla's groove. One final thing to note. You might have noticed this already, but let's overlap the two grooves to see what happens.
This'll keep us safe.
When you overlap scorching fire and cooling water, it doesn't change anything. Both grooves will activate in their given areas as they're supposed to. They're completely unaffected by each other. In case you thought that water put out fire, it doesn't quite work like that. You can see this pulsing, sparkling area is cooling water, and this flaming area is scorching fire. So if I stand in the cooling water, but not in the scorching fire, I'll be okay. If I stand in the fire, it really doesn't matter that there's water there. I'm going to get burned in any event. Even in the rain. This fire cannot be stopped by water, guys. It can spread onto the water, in the rain, while doused in water. It is magic super fire. In fact, if you look when they're doing the groove, you can very clearly see that Errol is setting like a magic fire into the slingshot. Alright, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and welcome to Wargroove. If you have any groove questions or you see anything I missed, put a comment down below.